Good afternoon, everyone. I am Maria Cristina Bagaforo, representing the Pearl of the Orient, the Republic of the Philippines. I am an English teacher by profession, also the current anti-human trafficking coordinator for the Diocesan Commission and Youth Diocese of Malolos, and during weekends and holidays I volunteer in a shelter built for the sexually abused, sexually exploited, and trafficked young girls called the Bahay, Pangarap, or Dream House if roughly translated to English. Having said so, these volunteering efforts brought me to the drafting of the solution entitled The Road to the Promised Land, Human Development and Inner Capacity Building Sustenance Program for the Abused Women and Children of Bahay Pangarap Women's Center Foundation, or simply the Road to the Promised Land project. Mirroring the Catholic Women's League Philippines mission, the Road to the Promised Land seeks to intensify the pursuit of the advocacy of Christian womanhood, particularly by working ardently to respect the dignity, protect the rights of the abused girls and women, and help in their societal reintegration. The Road to the Promised Land project would like to carry out the following objectives. Number one, to provide protective custody and care for women and girls during crisis situation. Number two, to provide a wide range of psychosocial interventions and services for protection, healing, and rehabilitation to empower them as healthy survivors. Number three, to facilitate reconciliation and reunification of families without threat or further exploitation. Number four, to create a viable program and various services and activities implemented by volunteer resource partners in the hope of making the survivors become more productive citizens. Number five, to install a creative and viable resource-based program for the financial sustainability of the center. And lastly, to serve as a resource center for women and girls in crisis situation in the province of Bulacan, Philippines. Trafficking in persons, sexual exploitation, and all other associated forms are referred to by Pope Francis as examples of modern-day slavery. In the national context, it has been widespread due to different circumstances plaguing the country, such as natural and man-made calamities, economic difficulties, and degenerating values. The shelter, situated in a first-class urban municipality in the province of Bulacan, promises to heal broken souls and rebuild shattered dreams. The promised land to every Israelite who have come for refuge. The solution is aligned with Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which is to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls and all its corresponding sub-targets. So the Road to the Promised Land project presents 3 essential integral elements that will immensely contribute to the successful reintegration of a rescued individual. Number 1 is the quality education. Number 2, spiritual formation. And number 3, legal assistance and intervention. In a third world country like the Philippines, education is considered critical to one's success. The shelter promises to provide a better quality of education, if not the best, to the victims who are in the basic education system and even in the tertiary level. Aside from the honing of the intellectual capacity of the rescued individuals, livelihood education is also being taught to prepare them with the skills they need when remerging in the society. Under the leadership of the Roman Catholic Church, the shelter reinforces the values and virtues that were once lost through the sacraments and other spiritual activities. Also, the Road to the Promised Land project works to provide protective custody and care, as well as psychosocial interventions and services to the victims who had been robbed of their moral and dignity. Qualified practitioners and professionals in the said field are available to assist them in legal aspects as they recover, heal, and rehabilitate, as well as to facilitate the peaceful reconciliation and reunion of families. So now I'll be discussing the barriers and hurdles. The Diocese of Malolos has limited financial resources to sustain the only temporary residential facility to house the victims. Meager as it is, the center selflessly assists the victims to survive, providing them with the human development program and inner capacity building that they need. Currently, the center is being managed by 8 regular staff and a core of volunteers from the Catholic Women's League and the Diocesan Commission on Youth. The managing group conforms to the standard ratio recommended by the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, the accrediting and licensing agency of the government. The center's 2015 budget projected 1.6 million pesos, or in dollars, it cost $32,878 US, with $18,250 US for the programs and services alone, while $9,466 and all the other components were allocated for personal services, maintenance and operating expenses, and social benefits respectively. However, due to an unstable economic condition in our country, causing great differences in the cost of living, these annual expenses are expected to increase 15% by 2017. For the implementation, the project will involve 3 strategies with corresponding supplementary activities. Please do take note that these activities are all time-bound. The first strategy would be the pre-submission of a project proposal. This will include a review of an implementation, followed by a performance appraisal and review of the staff, submission of requirements, down to the regular meeting of the staff and core volunteers. The second strategy identified is the case management. The said strategy will include case review and conference with local government unit, preparation and submission of first semester report to the board, down to the livelihood and skills training every quarter. Lastly, the third implementing strategy is the year-end performance evaluation and planning that includes 2 processes: the preparation and submission of a project implementation and documentation of the annual accomplishment report. So the Promised Land project also presents a monitoring strategy, including the formulation of the annual strategic plan to serve as basis for the review and the assessment of the movement of the residents under care, a monthly consultation and staff meeting. To end this, Exodus, the 2nd book in the Bible, reminds us how God saved his children from the land of slavery and made them his people. It tells the story of a faithful God who kept his vow to the forefathers of the Israelites, the fulfillment of their deliverance from bondage. It exposes the courageous exodus, or the exit of this entire nation from captivity towards the land God has promised them. In the same sense, this articulates that at present, there is hope for people who have been entrapped behind the bars of modern-day slavery, that there is hope that they can still be brought to the land God has promised them. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.